So this morning I went on Twitter, unfortunately, and I found that people had tweeted, much to my chagrin. And there was one particular tweet that caught my eye, and I wasn't going to say anything because it just seemed like general Twitter nonsensory. But when I read it further, when I looked into it further, and I looked at what was being said, I couldn't resist chiming into this and making a video about this because it concerns a line of thinking that has been prevalent with a lot of players of Destiny 2 since the game came out, since the franchise came out, and also it touches upon a pretty common question that I get in the Discord server, in the Twitch stream, and in the YouTube comment section, which is, should you cap zones, or should you go for kills? Now, let's establish some context. So a mutual friend of mine tweeted out a game that she had just completed, and she was top of the leaderboard, and she had quite the stats for that game. It was a very, very good game by her. Now, I've blurred out all the names here for privacy reasons. And you look at it says 76 score, 55 opponents defeated, 19 zone advantage, zones captured 2, combat efficiency 4.23. The kind of game that most people dream of having. And honestly, this was just like a cool moment. This is just something we all do. If we have a cool game, if we popped off, we do share screenshots, and this is perfectly normal. But that didn't stop somebody else taking gross offense to it by tweeting this out in response. Less than 2 zones captured, you are the reason your team barely skirted by, you self-absorbed prick. And that's some choice words for somebody who, to put it very, very plainly, got more than half the possible score you can get in a control game. Now, leaving aside the sentiment that, you know, getting mad over top fraggers is weird. That, I think, is a sentiment we can all agree on. It is weird to get mad at somebody for top fragging. They're good at the game, they played well. There are a bunch of different circumstances that could have gone into them playing well, and getting mad at that is just a reflection of perhaps your own inability to do that, or whatever your mental state is at that point. It's a weird thing to do just because it seems very unnecessary, and it doesn't seem like there's a logical endgame to doing so. And of course, the person who attacked my mutual friend, he's got a bunch of people saying, you know, yeah, this is what's wrong with the game, this is why I keep losing games, it's people like this who don't cap zones. But there is a fundamental misunderstanding here between what a leaderboard shows and what the game actually asks you to do. Yes, this is control. Yes, you need to capture zones to get more points. But the goal of this game mode is to get to 150 points before the enemy team. Now, how does control scoring work? You capture a zone, you get a point. You capture 2 zones, you get 2 points. You capture 3 zones, you get 3 points. But capturing zones on their own will not get you anywhere. It will not progress the tally in a meaningful way. It will definitely add 1 or 2 points here and there, but it will not help you win alone. You need to pair that with kills. What is the relationship between kills and point capturing? The amount of points you get per kill is based on how many zones you have. If you have no zones or 1 zone, you get 1 point per kill. If you have 2 zones, you get 2 points per kill. If you have 3 zones, you get 3 points per kill. Now, unlike Iron Banner, where there is a clear emphasis for you to go and lock out the enemy team by capturing 3 zones, there is no such objective in Control. Just get to 150 score by any means necessary. And one of those means you can do is literally just slay out. You don't need to capture zones. If you are contributing more than a third to your overall team score, you've had a very good game. Plain and simple. Because when you think about it, if everybody's pulling their weight, everybody gets a sixth of that, which is 25. You should be aiming for 25 score as a normal baseline, because that means you pulled your weight, you were average. If you do more than that and you pull a third of your scores team by getting 50 points or higher, you've effectively done the work of 2 people. If you go out and do half of the total score by getting 75 plus, you've done the work of 3 people. You see where I'm getting at with this? When you're playing control and you're slaying out, obviously you do have to bear in mind that you need to slay out whilst you have zones capped. Otherwise, you know, slaying out with only 1 zone doesn't lead to very many points. Somebody only gets 20 defeats, but does that with 2 zones capped all the time will have more score on the board than somebody who has 30 defeats with only 1 zone capped. You know, it's just basic maths. So the reality is you should be doing whatever you need to do to help your team get more score and help your team secure that win. For some people that's capping zones, for some people that's denying zones, for some people that's slaying out, for some people it's literally just hanging around with teammates and assisting and helping get their kills easier. There is no correct way to play control. There is no correct way to answer the question, should you go for caps or kills? Because the reality is you need to have a mix of both. Now, if one person frags out and doesn't cap zones, that in theory should help everybody else cap zones, therefore maintaining the points advantage, because by having one person kill the enemy team, you're ensuring that they have less people available at any one point to go and capture the zones. So if somebody else is fragging out, if somebody is so head and shoulders above everybody else, fragging out and getting kills, making life hard for the other team to just stay alive, and you still lose, well, then you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why didn't I help my team win? Why when they only had 3 to 4 people up and alive at any one point, effectively this one person was responsible for making the entire match a 6v4. Why did we still lose? Why did we not capture the zones? Why didn't we contribute and help out when we needed to? These are the questions that Destiny players who get mad at top fraggers don't ask themselves. And these are the questions that you should be asking yourselves if you find yourself in this situation is, how can I help this person? How can I help this person help my team better? Don't get mad at the person fragging out because they didn't capture zones. Ask yourself, why don't you have more zone advantage kills? Why don't you have more zones capped? Why is your efficiency under 1.5? Why are you feeding the enemy team points? Because you're going back to this leaderboard here for a second. A 4.23 efficiency means that this person, the top fragger, was killing and defeating 4 times the rate that she was being defeated herself. 55 divided by 4.23 means she died 13 times. She died 13 times but killed 55 people. Whereas when we go to the bottom of the leaderboard, we have somebody here with 18 opponents defeated with a 1.0. They died 18 times, which means they fed at least 18 points, if not more. And judging by the enemy scoreboard, she probably fed around 36 points to the enemy team because they had more zones capped and they had more zone advantage across the board. But hey, it's okay because the bottom fragger only captured 3 zones, right? Which is more than what the top fragger did. No, it doesn't make sense. Think about this mathematically. Think about this logically. Once again, and I'm repeating myself here because I'm running out of ways to say this, there's no correct way to play controlled. There's no reason to be mad at this. If you're mad at this, then it's probably a reflection of the experiences that you've had, either on your own or with friends, or just generally across a period of time. And if you get mad at top fraggers, then I would invite you to look in the mirror and ask yourself why you're getting so mad. Because top fraggers help your team, and you can't say that they don't. Zones captured is just one element to the equation. Zone advantage is the most interesting stat to me because it shows me who had the balance of zones throughout the game. And on the face of it, it looks like the losing team did, but they didn't have good fraggers. Because you look at their efficiencies, 1.3, 1.21, 1.64, 0.86, whereas everybody on the winning team was above a 1. What I see from this leaderboard is a very close game. It seems lobby balancing did their trick. They put the insane player on the winning team, but paired them with some people who weren't as objectively minded or perhaps had a lower win rate because they weren't sure how to capture zones. I'm very, very interested. Like, to me, the standout performers in this game, the people that I'd be asking the most questions about would be the middle 2 with only 1 zone captured on the winning team, and perhaps the person at the bottom there. But I would not be questioning the top fragger, because that person has more than carried their weight for the team and for the win. 76 score out of a possible 150. They're not to blame. I hope this discussion was useful. I hope this video wasn't a complete waste of time. Let me know if it was. And I'll never talk about tone policing ever again. Not tone policing, but generally just speaking on an issue that, you know, hasn't ever really seemed to go away. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Ascendant Nomad, and I'm your Crucible Doctor. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.